can put a space between them and the actual gratification. So tonight you will see, why is that so important? Why is this such an amazing thing when someone can actually do that? And they can Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Why is this so important for anyone to do that? So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. For me, before I go into that, I'm honored to be here. I appreciate the community. Thank you for allowing me to be part of you. And I'm grateful. This is, to me, I couldn't be doing anything else in my life. So I'm really honored. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فأما من طغى وآثر حياة الدنيا فإن الجحيم هي المأوى وأما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى إن الجنة هي المأوى. Surely the person, فأما من طغى, the one who's transgressed. We said we're walking on the path. What happens when you don't walk on the path? You decide to turn and go the other way. وآثر الحياة الدنيا, and he prefers the world instead of what? The next. We said yesterday, Hur didn't look back. He looked at the gate and he made the decision to go towards the gate. So on this level, you begin to see, if a person does that, and many people stayed on the other side, they chose the world. Hur left the world. Prestige, wealth, everything. He had it all. But he chose differently. That's not easy. So on that level, the person, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ, what happens? The person who's God conscious, they see the position of their Lord. Allah Azza wa Jal is with them. وَأَمَّا Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. There's another verse. You know what? I'm not going to go into that. Let me just stay here because I don't have much time. But on that level, then he forbids the self from what? Unlawful inclinations. Remember we talked about the inclinations inside the subconscious mind? You have to turn them where? Where do you have to turn them to? Allah Azza wa Jal. An inclination is an urge. Something that you have that's a predisposition. You have to turn it towards what? Allah Azza wa Jal. Surely heaven is his abode. It's that struggle between the self. And allowing the self to say what? Yes to you. Willingly. You go against it so much that it submits to you. That Imam Ali alayhi salam says, وَنَفْسُ مِنْهُ فِي عَنَاءٍ. In Nashir Balagha, Imam Ali talks about this. He says his own self is in distress of him. He also says he was hungry. He heard his stomach growl. He says, be quiet before I swallow a rock and shut you up. The discipline. To discipline the self is not an easy thing. So on that level, we have to realize Karbala is all about discipline. It's all about discipline. From the Imam to his companions, decision after decision after decision. It's all about discipline. It's all about what? Telling the self no. And you'll hear Abbas tonight. What he says when he holds the water in his hands. How do you get to that point? And you still tell the self no. How do you do that? How do you actually get to something like that? How do you get to that emotion? where to quench the thirst has less value for you, less value than your care for another person. How do you get the heart to become like that? How do you submit the heart? Your own ego has to submit. So now, we began from Allah Azza wa Jal, to the Prophet, to the gate. Imam al-Sajjad, in terms of Allah Azza wa Jal, he states, what's Allah's right upon you? In Risalat al-Huquq, the treaties of rights, what's Allah, that obligation that you have towards Allah? Because He's the center of everything. He is the point of Tawheed. Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam, he says, worship so you can worship Him without any association. So the first obligation we have towards Allah is no association with Him. There is no association with Allah. Now, I challenge you, and I stand to be challenged. Find a better gate of Tawheed than Imam Ali alayhi salam. Find a better gate. Look through history. I don't care who came before. Find a half a page in history of anyone talking about Allah the way Imam Ali talks about Allah. How does he describe Allah? Look back. This is not a fairy tale. We don't come together and just say stories and just hope that what? You believe or we believe. This is not a fairy tale. We don't commemorate every year because this is a fairy tale. And this is something we just like to come together and just say stories. No. Your soul is on the line. Your kids are on the line. Generations are on the line. This is where we come together. This is why we come together. Second thing, he says, if you worship Him with sincerity. Sincerity in the heart. This is the first hadith in the whole book. The first hadith. Worship Him with what? إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهِ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. That heart that's what? It's tranquil. It's submissive to Allah. So now, if you do this, in the hadith it states, he says, Allah has made it incumbent upon Him, that He will give you. See that door that you were running away from? He will give you that door. Hayatul dunya wa hayatul akhirah. He will give you both. But what's the criteria to winning in the world and winning in the hereafter? Worship of Allah and no association. The gate for us is what saves that association. Monotheism is ours. And I'm not joking when I say that. Follow another religion. See, when I say follow, I said look into history. Look into all these things. See, what comes closest to Tawheed, then follow that religion. It's incumbent upon you. So now, on that level, when you see that Allah will give you both, the world want it, we will give it to you. Then what? You want the akhirah, we will give it to you. You want both, we will give it to you. But what? أنا مدينة العلم وعلي بابها. So the Prophet ﷺ taught us the first night. From Allah to the Prophet, direct connection. From the Prophet to وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ الْكِتَابِ. Who is this person? To Imam Ali alayhi salam. To what? Imam Hussein. Till the nights of now. And tonight, you get the flag that's over the gate. You see the one who stands. These are men. This is a man. This is masculinity. This is power and strength. Ability to look at the enemy straight in them, right in their eye. And you don't waver. You don't waver. You don't move. Your heart doesn't move. How do you do that? We'll talk about the heart of Zainab. We have warriors on this side, no problem. But we'll also talk about the warrior that stands in front of any man. Sister Zainab is not just for you. I'm sorry. She's for us. She's my leader. You can't have her. She's my leader. She is. That's a heart that not many men can get to. That's the person that stood in front of the gate. That's not easy. So the heart does not have a gender. It doesn't have a gender. Male, female, it doesn't matter. Your iman is beyond. Your love for Allah is beyond. That's you. That's your character. How much do you want to ascend? So now, me and my brother were about 5 years old. When I was about 5, I used to go up to the bakery. I used to literally make the dough. I was 5 years old. I would go make the dough. I would call them manaish. Okay? So the cheese pies. And now they're all over Dearborn. If you visit Dearborn, like it's the most amazing. People just visit these things, these bakeries. Okay? I used to go up there. I used to take care of that. I used to go to the cashier. I used to pay the money. I was 5. Very young. But when you grow up in the Middle East, it's a completely different story. By the time you're like 7, 8, you're already a man. So on that level, we didn't have much growing up. We didn't. We were poor. My dad had to work very hard. And I remember days we would just eat. And my mom and my dad would just sit in the corner and they wouldn't eat. We'd wonder why. Like, I'd ask my dad, like, why aren't you eating with us? And he'd be like, it's okay. Ma'alesh, eat. Because there wasn't enough food. When my brother would get a rash, I remember I'd go with my dad. And I remember him dipping my brother, what? In the ocean. Because he didn't have enough money to buy what? Buy ointment. And I remember my brother screaming, man, that was bad. But think about that. These are the conditions that we lived in. And one time, my dad started making some money and stuff like that. And he gave me, for Eid, he gave me $5. Me and my brother. $5 back then? Man, I was rich that day. So what did we decide to do, me and my brother? And my brother is like literally, he's my heart. He is. My brother is one of the most incredible people on the face of this earth. Like Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, when he talks about these kinds of things in Risalat al-Huquq, or you hear these stories need to come into our life. They need to be the symbol for your relationships. They need to be the symbol of your heart. So now, we decide, me and my brother, to buy what? For the first time, we decide to buy a soda. And it was orange, and I remember it clearly. And he bought one, and I bought one. And we're so excited, it's so cold. You know, it was glass, so cold. And we're walking back. And it slips out of my brother's hand, and it breaks. I swear to you, I can almost taste the pop like in my mouth now. Because that was like the first time you ever what? Experienced something like that. So now, I have to make a decision. It's the first time I'm ever going to taste this. And now it looks so good to you. So I went home. And I remember, without any hesitation, I gave him half. So I drank half, and I made sure I don't go all the way to the center. I remember that. I gave him a little bit more than me. One of the principles that I teach in business is give 51% and take 49%. Invest that 1% into your future relationships. Well, watch what happens. So on that level, how do you, as a person, get to such a point that you stand like that. But the heart is being trained at a very young age. So all my little what? Little brothers, you're still what? A lion pup. How do you train yourself to get to that point? That you don't hesitate, you don't push, and you climb slowly. So on these nights, Abbas was sent a letter from who? Some of his relatives. Shimr sent him, remember the other night we talked a security letter. He sent him a security letter, a place of safety. I'm going to give you what? You don't have to what? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to fight us. Abbas had 3 brothers. I have 4 brothers. My dad raised us with as one unit. One unit. My dad passed away not too long ago, about 4 months ago. My dad was a mountain. He was a mountain. In terms of his strength, his capability, who he was as a person. I remember when my dad would come, I'd have like 30 people in my backyard because I had the only basketball ring. And as soon as they would see my dad's car, I swear to you, in not even a second, the backyard would be empty. My dad had this energy that's around him. So now, he raised us with one bank account. As we are growing up, he raised us with one bank account. We are a united front. That's how we were. And we didn't care. What's in my pocket is in my brother's pocket. We're still like that today. All my brothers, alhamdulillah, they're very successful. And my sister is more successful than all of us. And we're happy. But my parents gave us everything, and they took nothing. My parents died in the exact same place, in the exact same room, almost in the exact same way. But what they gave us is something amazing. I'm the oldest, so I had all the pressure on me. So now, how do you stand as a unit? So Shimr, in the middle of this whole congregation that's happening between them, between Imam Hussein, and now they have to face off. So Shimr calls Al-Abbas. He says, come. So Abbas answers. And imagine this. Abbas goes with what? His 3 brothers behind him. This is what you want. This is the strength you want. Your brother, Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam, know that he is your hand. He is your might and he is your strength. And he says, support him against his enemy. This is the bond that needs to be created. Not just here. It needs to be in here. But your brother's also got to see the gate. He's got to see the gate. From Allah to the Prophet to the gate of the city, he's got to see the gate. Then he's got to see the flag bearer of the gate. So imagine Abbas is your brother. Imagine that kind of personality leading you. Imagine that. So on that level, Abbas stands in front of Shimr. He says, what do you want? He says, what do you want? He says, we sent you a letter through one of our messengers, and you declined it. You didn't want it. I'm offering you the same plea. You have a chance. Think of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in the middle of the night when he turns off the candles. And he says, go. Har was a warrior. Why? Because he was free up here. And his heart was free down here. Abbas is the same way. Abbas is staying on the road. This is the road that me and you have to walk in this world. He won. We're still on the road. You don't know if you're going to make it to the gate. You don't know. The way you die at the end of, just to give you this, the last moment in what you're doing has so much importance. So always try to be in a state of wudu. Always try to keep your heart connected to who? Allah. Stay in that state. Don't die in the last moment and not earn the shafa'ah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Don't think just because you're a Shia that you found the gate. Don't think you have that. Don't. Some of us will die as non-Shia. Some of us will not earn because we think what? We're close to the gate. We will not earn that. So don't die in the wrong way. Don't do that. So now he stands in front of Shimr and he says, we've given you this offer again. What does Abbas do? Abbas turns around and he looks at his brothers and he says, what do you say? Look at the moment. Decision making. Decision making. We talked about decision making yesterday. Think about that moment. Now you're standing in front of your enemy, face to face. What's going to happen? You know what's going to happen. So now, what happens in these situations? Your responsibility is so great, but you have the freedom of choice. You can choose whatever you want. Abbas can turn around, accept the letter. It's a choice. But where's the responsibility in that choice? Imagine if you would have said, yes, no problem, and you would have walked off. Think about that. So how do you think his brothers answered? He said, we would never leave Imam Hussein alayhi salam. They see the path. They see the road. And they also see the gate. But your heart's got to see it. It's not an easy thing to do that. It's not. Try. The next time you have to tell yourself no. And then what happens? Your desires overtake you. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. Surely what? Do you think these people وَلَا تَحْسِبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا بَلْ أَحْيَاء. Those who have passed away, do you think they are dead? Actually being rewarded from Allah. They're not dead. These are the people that succeeded. That through their death, you can live with these emotions that we have now. No one can touch us in terms of the way we commemorate. Try to find someone who's more in terms of the way we celebrate. This is a celebration. This is a celebration that you can still see the gate. Otherwise it would have been gone. As much as we mourn, this is our way of showing what? Solitude with Imam Hussein. But how do you do it? How do you do that? You become a walking, talking billboard. For what? Just like the flag bearer was, you become a flag. Now it's on you. It's not on him, her. You change yourself. Dive to the inside. Take over your personality. Take the control. And don't submit to your temptations, which will lead you to humiliation. Take the high road. Fight the self. And then what happens? What happens when you do that? You earn dignity. You earn respect. You earn honor. Take that away from Imam Hussein if you can. Take it. Try to take it. You can't. You cannot remove these things from him. Why? Why? Because he earned it. You earn the path and earn the gate. So Imam Hussein can be standing with you, that when you pass, the first person you see is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Then he will check your heart. And if you can what? Say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And if you can't, the Prophet will be witness over your heart and what's in it. And if you see the city, And then Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, Imam Ali will witness over what's in your heart through shahada with what the Prophet just says. So now you have everything you need. You don't need anything else. You don't need anything else. So now, in the middle of battle, people have what? You see this person lose his life. You see this other person lose his life. And now it's a lot more scary. It's not easy to see people die, then still have the valor to stand. And he goes to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Abbas goes and he says, please, let me go. Let me stand. Let me do what I need to do. Why? Because Abbas hears the little what? And subhanAllah, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? He came up to me. Where is he? Where is he? He sees that. And see that innocence of that child? That tears your heart apart. So imagine that. And now the heart is moving. And Abbas stands. And imagine getting on your horse. And imagine just facing an enemy that wants to just take your life. And they're actually happy to do that. What do they want to earn? They want to earn the spoils of war. And it goes through your head. Your head means what? That they earn money. Hayatul dunya, as we said. Now, what do we learn from Abbas? How do we stay on the road? First thing, determination. Unrelenting will. Unrelenting. When you get to these phases, you can stand up in front of anyone. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's in front of you. So now Abbas stands. And imagine just looking at the Euphrates. And now he moves. And imagine when he kicks his horse. And now he's moving. He breaks through the army. Imagine that success of just getting to the water. Now your test is coming. The challenge is coming. I've actually succeeded. I've earned my keep. I've earned the water. I've earned it. Now what happens? Abbas gets off his horse, goes to the water, fills the what? He fills the container, wraps it, puts his hand in the water. Imagine the coldness of that. Now please listen to this. I was watching a series and it said I shouldn't be alive. This person was astray in the water. And he was lost in the middle of sea for 76 days. 76 days he survived. If some of you can watch it, unbelievable determination. Unbelievable will to survive. Some of the trials he went through, this person got to such a point. He literally said this in his interview. He said, if you were to ask me for my right hand, if you were to ask me and take my right hand just for a cup of water, because he was so thirsty, he said, I would give it to you. He said, the biggest desert is not the actual desert. He said, it's the ocean. Why? Water all around you, but you cannot drink it because it's going to kill you. Imagine that. Imagine that kind of situation. Now think of Abbas' thirst. Then he picks up the water. And he says what? What does he say? Ya nafsu. Ba'd al-Hussein, huni. He thinks of who? He thinks of his brother. He thinks of Imam Hussein. How does the heart do that? I remember my brother another time. A dog came out of nowhere. I swear to you. We were walking, me and him. And a dog just came out of nowhere. And it was running at us. And I swear to you, the first thing I did is I grabbed my brother and I pushed him behind me. And I don't know why. I just did it. I just pushed him and I put him behind me. And I stood in front of the dog. And I didn't move. And I swear to you, it got like right in front of me. It stopped. It stopped. But I remember, because he was scared. But for me, I didn't care what the dog was going to do. I didn't. But my brother now, I swear to you, every one of us doesn't have a house payment. The only person who has a house payment is my brother. He paid, took care of everyone. As we were going through. That's a brother. That's someone who's got your back. And my dad told me, he said, you're the oldest. He goes, if you want to leave and go into the world can break you. But if you have your brothers, no one can touch you. And with us, we are like this. We're one family. The strength that is in that. All my brothers have made it to very high levels. They're very successful people. And my sister. But imagine Abbas when he says, and he throws back the water. He says, I don't want it. So my brother doesn't have it. That's discipline. Because he was known as a person who can what? وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ. He removes the self from unlawful what? Desires, inclinations. But how about when it's what? It's not unlawful. You've earned it. But you still delay. But Al-Abbas goes back. They hit him. Some things happened. You guys know the story. They cut off his left hand. They cut off his right hand. And what does he say? He says, إِن قَطَعْتُ شِمَالِي وَيَمِينِي وَدَافِعُ. I will always what? Stand for my religion. That no matter what the world takes from me. You want to take even my body parts? Take them. You think I'm going to let go of the path? You think I don't see the gate? Take whatever. Doesn't matter. Because I know where I'm going. I know where the address is. Because my heart is programmed. Allah's address is in my heart. And I'm not moving off what? The navigation system of who I am. I'm not let going of my personality. I'm not going to let go. So now, Abbas falls to the grounds of Karbala. Imam Hussein alayhi salam. As he's falling, he says, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Imagine this is your brother. I think of my brothers like that. And just tears you apart. Doesn't matter what you have. If you're not doing well in your relationships, from your sister to your brother, to your family, to your mother, to your... Doesn't matter. Try to find a way. Try to find a way to bring that together and bridge the relationships so you can be a unit of individuals that make up a family. And the families are the bricks that make up a community that makes everything strong. Because we need each other. We need each other. I need you just like you need me. I'm coming from miles away. But trust me, I need you. Just as much as you need me. But please work on yourself. So now, Imam Hussein alayhi salam rushes to his brother. He tries to put his head on his lap. Abbas pushes him off. He pushes his head off. He does it again and again and again. Then Imam Hussein says, why are you doing that? He says, please just leave me here. Don't take me back. He is at the gate. Imam Hussein is the gate. He says, leave me here. I don't want them to see me like this. I think of my nephews and nieces. Teach them to pray. Teach these little kids to pray. Teach them to submit to the Quran. Teach them about Allah Azza wa Jalla. He says, I don't want them to see me like this. Then he says to him, he says, why? Why you keep doing it? He does it again. He says, Ya Aba Abdullah, who's going to put your head, who's going to have the lap to put your head. So imagine what he's thinking. It's constantly thinking of what? The other person. It's removing the I. Karbala is about removing the I. See the I that we all possess? Me, 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 me. Karbala is about the I. It's about other people. Remove the self and fight it. And watch what happens when you earn that freedom. Watch what happens when you earn that. That you can give willingly. Your heart, when you give with your hand, your heart doesn't do this. It doesn't pull it back. That's brotherhood. That's sisterhood. Wife, husband. Create these connections. Let the heart connect properly. And then when Abbas, imagine on that level. He's in his brother's hands. Where would you want to die? Imagine, and I'll leave you with this. ما تدري نفس ماذا تكسب غدا. You will not know what you're going to earn tomorrow. وما تدري نفس بأي أرض تموت. And you will not know which land you're going to die in. Death is coming, whether you like it or not. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he says, you're getting younger. You're not getting older, you're getting younger, because you're losing every second is a breath closer to your death. And it's coming. There's a reality that is coming. How do you want to meet death? Do you want to enter it through the gate? Or what? Be looking the wrong way. Please work on yourself through these nights. Stay up at night. Reflect. Think. These stories are not fairy tales. These stories are episodic statements that should live within your memory. And then when you have them in your memory, water them with your emotions and connect to them and live by those principles. This is why we commemorate. This is why we are who we are, the Shia of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.